Welcome to our lesson on solving proportions. As you can remember, a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. So in other words, ratios are considered proportional if they are equivalent. If you're given two ratios, to check for proportionality, we can test the cross products. Okay, that is not something new. We've actually done this before. So as a reminder, cross products are the products, so we're multiplying the denominator of each ratio and the numerator of the other ratio. So if we apply that knowledge, we can check to see if each of these ratios creates a proportion, again, equal ratios. So in the first example, I would check their cross products. 9 times 8 should, whoops, sorry, you can't see that. 9 times 8 should be equal to, the same as, the cross products of 6 times 12. And it turns out that 9 times 8 is 72, and so is 6 times 12. So yes, these two are proportional. The other reason that makes sense is because if I were to reduce 6/8, it would be 3/4, and if I were to reduce 9/12, it would also be 3/4. All right, moving on to the next proportion. Again, I'm going to check their cross products. In other words, 12 times 15 should be equal to 10 times 18. 12 times 15 is 180, and 10 times 18 is 180. And so again, I find out that yes, these are proportional. And the final example is more obvious. 7/14 is 1/2, and so is 8/16. But just because we're talking about cross products here, we'll go ahead and check. 14 times 8 should be equal to 7 times 16. And when I multiply 14 times 8, I find out that it's 112. And if I multiply 7 times 16, I find out that is also 112. So let's go ahead and take a look at example B. We're going to take a closer look at an example of a problem we've already done. What if I had placed a variable instead of the number 18? So right here, I've put an X in the place of where originally I had an 18. How would you solve that? Go ahead and pause the video for a moment, and I want you to think about that. All right. Hopefully, the way that you decided to solve this problem is by using cross products. If we know that these ratios are equal, and we do because there's an equal sign in between them, we know that 15 times 12 is going to be the same as 10 times x. It's going to be equal to 10 times x. So because this makes a little curvy fish-looking creature, I call this the proportion fish, and I put a little mouth in there with an equal sign. I know fish don't usually have a mouth, but this mathematical proportion fish does. So again, what we know is that 15 times 12 is going to be equal to 10 times x. So let's go ahead and write that out. 15 times 12 is going to be equal to 10 times x, which can be written as 10x. From here, I can simplify 15 times 12, which is 180, equals 10x. And from here, I can just solve a one-step equation, trying to get x alone. 18 equals x. So you can actually use cross products to solve for unknown values in a proportion. Let's go ahead and take a look at a real-life example. At Jewel, oranges cost $2.34 for 6 oranges. Because the price will stay constant, we can set up an equal ratio to find out how much money 8 oranges would cost. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to compare money to oranges. So my original set was $2.34 for 6 oranges. I want to know since that rate will stay equal, will stay constant, how much money will that cost for 8 oranges? And I knew to put the X on top because I said money was on top, and I knew to put the 8 on bottom because I said oranges was on bottom. Now, in order to solve this, I can recognize that X times 6 will be equal to $2.34 times 8. Now, when I do these types of real-world word problems, I can ignore the labels. But again, what I know is that 6 times X will be equal to 234 times 8. So let's go ahead and write that out. 6 times X would be written 6X, equal sign, that's where my fish mouth is, equal sign, 234 times 8. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I'll go ahead and write that out for now, and I can use my calculator. 6x equals 1872. And then my goal is always to get x alone, so I'm going to solve by dividing by 6, and I find out that x would equal, and again, you can use your calculator on this part, x would equal $3.12. Now, if you were to solve this problem a different way, you could find the unit rate, which is 39 cents per orange, and then you could multiply it by 8. But either way that we do that, you're going to get the same answer of $3.12. So this is just a faster, more efficient way to solve for how much 8 oranges would cost. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at just some normal proportion problems, and we're going to use our proportion fish to solve that. So x over 12 equals 21 over 36. What I'm going to do is start in the top right hand corner, and I'm going to multiply my cross products, 21 times 12, and I'm going to set them equal to my other cross products, 36x, 36 times x. 21 times 12 is 252, and that's going to equal 36x. Now I have a one-step equation, and I just need to divide by 36 in order to get x alone. So I solve, and I find out my answer is 7 equals x. Now, there's a way to check your answer. On some of the problems, this way will work. 7 is a very logical answer. Here's why. When we look at the denominators, 36 divided by 3 would be 12. And if I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. So 21 divided by 3 would be x, or 7. When I look at the next problem, if I glance at it quickly, I could almost solve this using mental math, because I know that 10 goes into 40. So whatever I need to multiply 10 by, I could also multiply 8 by to get x. But because we're new at this, I want to go ahead and solve it the regular way first. So again, I start in the top right-hand corner. I multiply my cross products. X times 10, which is 10x, set it equal to x times 40, 8 times 40, which is 320. If I try to get x alone, I would solve and get x equals 32. Now, like I was saying before, if I were to multiply 10 times 4, that would be 40, and then I have to do it to the top, 8 times 4, which would be 32. So again, this is a logical answer. Now, most of the problems we're going to come across, we cannot use mental math like problems 2 and 3. We actually have to solve it, because I don't know 25 divided by something would be 15. I don't know what that is in my head, which tells me this might be a funky answer. It could be a decimal, it could be a fraction, something along those lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my proportion fish. Again, starting in the top right-hand corner, 15 times 38 equals 25 times x, which would be 25x. 15 times 8 is 570 equals 25x. I divide by 25, and I find out that my answer is 22.8 equals x. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about a way to check your work for that problem as well. But in the meantime, I would like you to try the 4 math problems for homework, and then also I want you to describe how we talked about checking our work. Good luck and have a good night. Thank you.